Welcome to the Spiritual Sweet Spot, a place where you can rejuvenate your soul. Hosted by author M.B. Moses. This is a safe space for all.
Alrighty. Welcome back to Decoding Dreams Podcast. I am your host, author, and sister friend, M.B. Mosley. Family, it has been a long while. Yes, I'm still alive. Yes, I missed all of you. Yes, I missed recording the podcasts. But I do want to say this, though. I am so grateful to every single one of you internationally that continue to download the episodes. You continually inspired me from a distance. Though I wasn't releasing new episodes, I would continually check my stats, my statistics, my data, and see that you all are just coming through for little old me. And thank you. Thank you so much. I'm just so excited. I have a lot to share. Podcast is growing, and I'm just being so humbled, even with my absence. I want to feel that vibration in the background because I'm just feeling so grateful for every single one of you. And it feels so good to be back, right? We're taking baby steps. Where have I been? OMG. A lot of stuff has been happening, y'all. But it's all been positive, right? Circumstances and stuff is a matter of what we make it, which is bringing me right on to the topic of manifestation. Right? We probably have covered it in some of our episodes before. Podcast has been around for some time with 67 episodes. So I know I've spoken about manifestation somewhere, but I have come back with a renewed, fresh mind. Yes. I'm so excited. How are you all doing? To all my international audiences, how are you doing? To my local audiences, how are you doing? How is your mental health? How is your spiritual health? Right? A lot happens. Yes. And I'm just excited to be back, obviously. And I just don't want to inundate this podcast because we're going to have so many moments together. While I was away, I was thinking of so many things to do. And we still have the live feature for those that my day ones. Shout out to my day ones. My day ones that have been here since day one. Shout out to you. Snaps for you. And so in my desire for the longest time was to go live and to have that live feature. That's why we are now on Spreaker. And everybody listening to this Decoding Dreams podcast, you can find us on most of your podcast platforms. Just simply type in Decoding Dreams Podcast. And it's with your host, me, M.B. Mosley. So yeah. Right. And the reason why I have to do that, y'all, we go into all kinds of social medias. We're on the TikToks, but we're on TikToks under the publishing name. So it's been a lot. Today's topic is manifestation. It's manifestation. I'm excited. You can always hear it in my tone, right? So yeah. And perhaps I could just give you a little bit of gist where I've been, what I've been doing, how I've been doing. You feel me? Okay. So listen, it's just been a long journey. I think the last time we spoke a little bit, we talked about in one of my former podcasts was just really for me the desire to continue to grow within my shadow work and so forth. And I believe I have a podcast on that, but I might rekindle that conversation as well. So yeah, I've been peeling away the layers, family. It's a continual growth. It is a continual growth, peeling away the layers. And while peeling away the layers, had a whole lot of downloads in terms of getting back into the healthcare industry. Those that are my day ones that have been following since the inception. You know that I lost my sister in the year 2021 part and parcel of also trying to gather myself was just still trying to process the grief. I really want to talk about grieving soon and just, and what it has meant for me. It's been a journey, and it continues to be a journey. Yeah. I mean, listen, everyone grieves differently. It's like, until I'm in the shoes now, I'm realizing that, I remember somebody said a long time ago, before my sister passed, they were grieving and they said, oh, it just gets better. It doesn't go away, but it gets better over time. And I'm like, it's 23. I lost in 21. A little time has gone by, but it doesn't get better for me. It doesn't. It's not. Can I just be real with y'all as I am always? It does not. It's not. It's really like a roller coaster of emotions, up, down, up, down. And I just don't feel like, oh, okay, I'm coming to terms with it. No, it just always feels fresh and still right, ever present. And this whole gaping hole in my heart is still ever visible, But that's one of the things, I started to think back on the conversations I'd had with my sister. And part of it was just, we had talked about me getting back into the industry. My skill set happens to be in the healthcare industry, right? And so in order to be current, you got to keep up with your skill set within the healthcare industry. Trust and believe. I try to think, maybe I could just buy a machine and maybe I could just keep up with my skill set and just scan from home. But no, it doesn't work like that. So I said, and plus I was like, you know what? It's going to do me more good being around regular functioning, what I assumed to be regular functioning human beings of society, and just to get back so that this way I'm not so much at home. As most of y'all know, my day ones, I was handling a lot of projects. I left the corporate America / healthcare industry in the year 2018. Right? I was out here on a sabbatical, trying to find myself, seeking higher self and so forth. Did we find her? She's still there. She's somewhere there. We're working on her, and along the path and along that journey, there were some loved ones that were lost. And so also trying to blend that into everything else that's going on has been a journey, a humbling journey, a lifetime of experience, might I add. And so that's where I've been. I'm excited. Soon, I want to be, I'm excited and I want to be able to tell you all about the journey of getting back into the said workforce. Why y'all didn't tell me it was toxic as F sometimes at these jobs? Why y'all didn't tell me that? Okay, pause. We'll talk about that later on. Let's not jump into conclusions yet. Okay. But today I want to talk about the power of manifestation, right? So, here's how, and, I was asking Spirit, I say, Spirit, I just want a layman's approach to this, because I feel like sometimes it just could be a matter of perception depending on who's doing the manifesting and what it means to them. So I decided to share with what manifesting means to me and how manifesting has aided in this journey. Right. So ever since I was a little girl, I had always called it this knowing that I'd always had, which is like a strong feeling on certain things, not everything, but certain things. Like case in point, when day ones, y'all gonna hear me reference day ones, and because I'm back on the air, and it's gonna reach other listeners that may be new, and if you're new, welcome. And don't forget to download the episode and share the episode. But so, for my day ones, they know that I reside in the United States of America. I was born in Zimbabwe, which is above South Africa. And so I was born and bred and raised in Zimbabwe for about 16 years of my life. Then we migrated to the West, to the United States of America. So, but when I was growing up in that environment back in my day, right, in my culture, it was this whole, what we would say in 2023, we want to throw out these big words, right? Misogynoir, sexism, or whatever it is, isms, all these isms and schisms, right? So I was pretty much being raised as a girl child, the oldest girl child, to be domesticated, to be given to a husband. That's really what my main objective was and determined when I entered into this earth realm, from that culture that I was born into. But as a young girl, I had this innate knowing that wasn't my journey. I just knew, I'm not going to get married to a Zimbabwean man. Like, I knew that wasn't my journey. If anything, I thought I was going to get married to somebody in Europe, because most of the times when we get done with high school, we will go and become expats in Europe, most times in Britain, right? But that was not my fate. And so we came to the United States of America, just how things worked themselves out. Okay. So trying to give you little examples of the knowing. Let me see. The other things for me as well was had a strong knowing, would say, from a younger age as well, of not seeing myself particularly as a mother, which all of these things are going really counter my tradition and cultures, right? I was bred for domestication and to rear a whole bunch of kids. But again, once again, low key, I think I got a spirit of rebellion in me. Yeah, low key. Yeah, low key and high key. I got a little rebel in me. Yeah, I should be starting a movement somewhere. But I was like, no. I had another knowing, like, that's not going to be the life that I'm going to live, right? And so my day ones will know of a story, and without having to overwhelm this podcast today, we're just taking pieces and bits, and we're going to weave it back to manifestation and what it looks like to you. And so in my adult life, along my path here on earth, I fell into addiction. My day ones know that. Alcohol. I was abusing alcohol. I'm a recovered alcoholic. I quit drinking August the 24th in the year 2011. Snaps for me. But let's talk about that, right? So even within that addiction of alcoholism, I was a functioning alcoholic, which meant that I would wake up, go to work, and come back home, drink myself to sleep. So let's talk about that. So in that moment, I was under 30 years old. And I had these are sporadic moments of strong knowing. Some people will call it intuition. Some people will call it that nudge from spirit, some different things, right? But for me, it's these moments where knowing comes through stronger than I don't know what. And I had that same knowing that I wouldn't make it past 30 if I continued the habit of drinking. I just had this knowing that I wasn't going to see my 30th birthday if I continued drinking in the mannerism that I was drinking. So these were some of the knowings that helped me throughout my life. And not just the little moments or the big moments of the knowing, but even when my day ones know about this part, when I was deep engrossed in my 9-year addiction, at that time, I would cry and I would tell myself that I didn't like what I was doing. And most times I have a feeling now that was my soul crying out, like, girl, we need to stop this. But a part of me would cry out, and I just was so tired about this behavior. I wanted it to be over. And I used to see myself, visualize, in a park. One of the beautiful parks that we have out here, it's got a walking path around the lake. And you walk around the complete lake. It's about 4 miles. It's a good workout. Woo, 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 woo. And then it's a nice area. You can ride your bike. It's a whole kid and caboodle. Real nice. But at this moment, even in my most low vibrational moments, I would sit there and visualize what it looked like to me to walk around that park in freedom. And when I say in freedom, it's because I was so bound and tied into this stronghold of a thing that I couldn't physically shake. So weekends, I would just have a shutdown. I'll have a whole shutdown inside my house, and it's binge drinking a weekend. That's what I did. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't, go out anywhere. I just chose to darken the house up and sit there, binge drink, watch movies and so forth, and continue from there. So it was really an imprisonment of sorts at that time. When I look back now, because hindsight is 2020. And that's why I'm so about books literally saved my life over addiction, because after that, find the books, the reading, the writing, and all that other stuff. But let's baby steps. So there I had it. Even in my depths and in the bellies of a dire addiction, in my mind, I would see myself. I wouldn't see for the future. I would see myself in that moment, walking around that park. I would do my best to envision the fresh breeze, the fresh scent of that cold wind gently touching my skin as that breeze blew across the lake. My favorite seasons is fall and spring, but I would just see myself in that moment doing the thing that I couldn't do, but wanting to do the thing that I wanted to do. Just as when I was a young girl, I would see myself living overseas, because I knew, I was like, I'm not going to get married to a local native person. I'm going to get married to, I see my husband being overseas. I see my husband being of a different culture, a different tradition. That I saw as a child, in that moment as a child, because the adults in my life and my culture and everything was trying to embed in me that I was being geared and targeted, even from the ages of 11, 12, to know how to cook for a lot of people, to know how to clean, to know how to do the basic necessities to run a home, to be ready for a man within that culture and that religion. An idea that I personally resented as a child. And it wasn't like my manifestations at that moment were based upon the resentment of my culture as a child. It was just based upon something I knew for a fact that I didn't want for myself with conviction. And that I just saw myself living overseas, being married overseas, and not within my culture. Those were the knowings that I knew. And those were the seeds of manifestation, right? My manifestation life has always consisted of most times knowing and most times seeing a thing. I have to see it. I have to claim it. It has to be a thought process in my mind. And this is one thing that I have realized over the years, just case in point, when I manifested my house at 25 years old, brand new house. Before 25 years old, I was going to my school for the job, the career that I currently have, right? And so while I was in school, I had not yet graduated from that program. But I used to always, and I went to school in Southern California, and I would always, after school, I didn't care if it was the same week's publication. It was a ritual of mine. After school, I would go stop at the local AM/PM, which is a gas station store. And I would, outside the AM/PM at that time, they probably have them inside, but outside they would have little stands of house books. They would have houses in them. I always grabbed me a little book, Houses for Sale. And I always sat in my car and I flipped through, looking at the houses that I wanted, the houses that I desired. And I just knew that one day I would buy a house. And when I used to look at that house book, those were not brand new houses. Those were houses. But in my mind, I was claiming my stake. I had no idea where I was going to go. I moved from Southern California to the Midwest, but I just always gathered those books. When I started my career, did the same thing, gathered house buying books from gas stations and so forth. And my coworkers at that time used to know that those were my books, and just flip through pages and see myself living in the house. How would my house look? What colors would I have? How many bedrooms? How many bathrooms? And so Manifestation for me and within my life has always been the ability to see in that moment, in that present moment, what I want, what I need, what I desire, and the ability to keep that thought form within my mind and within that moment. And to know that I wasn't throwing pennies into a wishing fountain saying, one day I wish, one day I will, one day I may. It was almost just that knowing, that certainty, that assurance that I know for a fact, or I know, just that knowing, which is belief to me, and knowing that I can attain and I can achieve. And then having that thought process within that moment of claiming what it is that you want and what you need and that you know that you want or need, right? And so by all due respect as well, within the manifestations of knowing and mapping up my house or how I, and here's the thing. Most times, right, we here's ideal. You want to do your thought forms within the moment. We're in the moment. I am in my multi-million-dollar home. That's your affirmation currently, right? But here's the thing, right? You also want to have an understanding of the seeds that you sprinkle out. These were the earlier examples I gave you of what were of me as a child that ended up manifesting themselves later on in my early 30s. But these were the seeds that I laid upon my life and declared upon my life, knowing I was like, I am not going to be for this system. I was just like, this is not me. Respectfully, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with culture. There's nothing wrong with all of that. But I just knew personally, individually, as a little girl, that wasn't my destiny. That was not, I was like, nope, I reject that notion. That is not my destiny. I'm not sitting up here rearing nobody's children, getting married up in here. I'm going to be somewhere frolicking in the Caucasus Mountains of Europe somewhere with my soulmate somewhere. Just kidding. I wouldn't have known what a soulmate was at that age. But you get the point. Right? So the manifestation, laying down your foundation, laying down your seeds, speaking into existence what you want, creating the thought form. One habit that I've gotten used to is going to sleep and verbally saying what it is that I have, meaning wanting to manifest what it is that I have, because when I do that audibly before I go to sleep on repetitive mode, I then launch it into my subconscious, right? And then that way I can have clarity, certainty as well, most times, of the direction and where I'm going and so forth. I tend to connect better in my subconscious sometimes with certain decisions and so forth, or certain choices. So the manifestation process then becomes, and what I want to say is that to me, there's never been too much to manifest, too little to manifest, but you got to lay the foundation and the seeds. What it is that you want, you got to claim it in the moment. You got to declare it over your life, right? What you don't want, you got to reject it over your life, because there is such power in our words. When we speak them out, they have their own frequency and vibration. And when we speak them out into the universe, we got to stake our claim, because words are powerful, right? So stop with the limited beliefs of, oh, I really want this big house, but I can't afford it. I'll never be able to afford it. You know what the power of manifestation is? It's claiming something that you believe you deserve to have. And most times not even knowing the how you're going to get it, but just claiming it. And listen, this has been my real life experiences for a lot of things. I have had the liberty now in life to have driven my dream cars. I literally was picking my dream cars off the showroom floor. I would have never dreamt about that. I used to always, for the longest time, I had back in the day, I got them dinosaur Dell laptops. Laptops have come a long way. But I had that dinosaur laptop on the backdrop. The wallpaper would be my dream car. I didn't know how I was going to get that dream car. I didn't know when I was going to get that dream car. And I didn't know how it looked. But I knew I was going to drive that car. I knew I was going to drive that car. Hello, somebody. I knew I was going to drive that car. And guess what? I just didn't drive that one car. I drove a series of those cars until my heart was content. Years after years after years. And it felt good just going to the showroom and like, yeah, that one right there. But that's the thing. It's casting away the limited beliefs. Sometimes these limited beliefs have been bestowed upon our lives. Sometimes the risk factors are when we're in the belly, right? While we are trying to maturate, to grow and come into this earth. Sometimes these words that family members, whoever may cast a shadow of doubt over our lives. And this is something you may also have to work on. Sometimes it's about canceling these limited beliefs that have been placed upon our lives. Sometimes it has happened within our youth, growing up in our childhood, even in our adulthood. The words that are spoken over our lives by people, sometimes closest to us or in our sphere of energy. And that's why you got to protect your energy. I know I got a podcast for that one. But family, listen, here's the ideal thing. You deserve what you deserve to have. It is within grips and measures of it. Casting away the limited beliefs. Some limited beliefs may have been caked in there since childhood or since marinating within the placenta itself and the fluid, right? So now I found out in my life, I had a lot of limited beliefs too, that I had to tear and sever the cord from those limited beliefs. I had to take a hold of my life, my destiny, and own it. That was my power that I gave to myself. And casting away that, tying away that cord of limited beliefs set upon my lives from people that I may have met, may have not met, may have spoken over my life, and I wasn't there, because these are all words that little ritual I did had to happen to help me. And I've seen a series of open doors after open doors through manifestation, because I now no longer doubt. With some incidences, lean into your gut, into your intuition, into that knowing. It guides you to give you affirmation that you are on the right path, that you're headed towards the right thing, right? And then at the same token, laying down your seeds of your manifestation, understanding that sometimes we may just have to lay down seeds, we may have to lay down a foundation to get that manifestation to come to fruition. Because I can sit here and want all the luxury cars, they were luxury cars, but all the dream cars that I wanted back in the day when I was on my dream car kick, and I've been redeemed. I took a sabbatical. Okay, the ego had to die. The ego had to die. Stabbing the ego, killing the ego off. But anyways, all ego stuff there, out of here. But anyways, I digress. So case in point, right? So I could not have attained a manifestation of fruition through the dream cars if I just wanted dream cars. But how we going to get these dream cars? Right? It is good to write stuff down. I do have a manifestation journal. I do write my things down. I have short-term manifestations, long-term manifestations. I got stuff I'm writing down that I have this and I have that. And sometimes you write it down a whole bunch of times. I have this, I have this. I have a 6-bedroom house with 4 bathrooms, brand new, whatever it is that you want to manifest. Right? Making sure you're casting pure intentions out into the universe, right? Because the universe is out here for our greater good. So casting out pure intentions out to the universe, breaking down and casting away the limited beliefs that have been bestowed upon our lives, whether we know it or don't know it. But that's part of the journey and part of us to figure out too. Some people are in a place where they're like, listen, I've been trying to manifest. I write down, I scribe, I affirm, I look my soul in the eyes, in the mirror, and I affirm my manifestations. And I'm at an impasse. What are the limited beliefs? Were there any limited beliefs? Remember, some limited beliefs you may not have audibly heard them. Some would have been placed upon your life while, once again, what? Marinating in that placenta, in the fluid, right? Maybe before you hit earth, maybe on your name, behind your back. But sometimes those are what you shackle off, right? You call onto the universe. You say, I'm releasing all the limited beliefs that have been put on my life knowingly and unknowingly by said participants, and I return them back to sender, or just cut them off right there. You no longer subscribe to those. They're no longer attached to you. They're no longer tethered to you. Sometimes it's that part that we gotta also take care of. And then feel free, if you like vision boards, still a big advocate for vision boards, because I've always been a person that sees a lot of things in my mind first. Like, I see it for what it is. I saw myself walking around that park. I saw myself looking healthy. I felt myself breathing this fresh air. I felt myself feeling good. I felt myself at peace in that park. My manifestation helped with my sobriety. Now, once again, I'll probably talk about my sobriety journey because I think it's something important to talk about. But I always like to preface and say, don't do what I did. Everybody, it's not a cookie cutter. You know, if you're under doctor care, if you're going to rehab, therapy, and so forth, continue to do that. Continue to do what the professionals in your life are telling you to do. My story is my story. But once again, let's get back into manifestation, holding on to those things that seem that they're in the air, but making them real tangible within your hands, within your mind, breathing and leaving in those manifestations, claiming them, and at the same time destroying any unlimited beliefs that surround you. Right? Right. I'm telling you, it is a beautiful thing. I manifested where I'm at today. I manifested my return into the workspace. I manifested the specific. I wish I could show you my writing here, but I have fun writing the date that I say that I will be working here. I will do. I am I'm working here. I have been hired here. I manifested down to how much I'm going to get paid. And then, look, I was ready for those negotiations. I had a rebuttal, but nope, they met me above and exceedingly more. So it's about just organizing your manifestations, what's important to you, what you see in your mind, getting rid of the limited beliefs. Because let's say, and then sometimes they don't have to feel like it's limited beliefs that people may have said in your life and unknowingly and so forth. But sometimes it's the limited beliefs that we conjure up. I'm guilty of that. It was some, like when it was my dream car, I knew I put it on that screen on my laptop, on my computers, on everything I saw, I would see my car. But I used to have moments of, how am I really going to get this car now? How am I going to get this German engineered luxury car? How am I going to do that? You know? And I mean, when the moment happened, it happened so quick and it was surreal. And I'm there and I'm in it. And I'm like, OMG, sis, I'm in here. I am in here. Vroom, 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 vroom. Where are we going? And then just like my house, right? I just didn't buy a brand new house a lot. I didn't buy a bare ground, get it built on bare ground on my lot and all this other stuff as something spontaneous. This was time in the making, time in the visualization processes, just looking at houses. And you know, what's crazy is way before I even made that initial purchase, I had put together, now that book I have, it's like a notebook coming apart, but I'm holding on to it because I put down, this was in the early stages of the internet and printing and stuff like that. And I printed down to the duvets, the covers, like the bed sets and stuff like that, what I would have in my guest bedroom. I had the same exact theme as in my book. What kind of washer and dryer machine I would have the same kind, y'all. It was like I shopped and stuck these things in my book. It was like almost like a scrapbook, and how I layered out the house that I wanted. And then when I got the house that I wanted, purchased the lot, the price for that lot, and the house started getting built and everything like that. By the time I moved in, it was a matter of just picking up all these items that I'd plastered in my book, finding out, to where the furnitures and all this other stuff, the stores, and then just piecing it together. And then I stepped back and I'm like, all of this stuff was in my book before I physically moved in. Because you all know that we're having a human experience, right? We're spiritual beings. Everything y'all know, my day ones, what is it? You could finish this up for me. Y'all could finish this up for me, my day ones. Everything always happens in the spiritual realm before it manifests itself in our physical plane, right? So it's been amazing, and that's why I always want to encourage people about the power of manifestation. The power of manifestation helped me through sobriety. The power of manifestation helped me navigate life, helped me with a lot of parts. But what we have to do is cast out limited beliefs, sever cords of audible limited beliefs, even if it's our own individual limited beliefs, cutting the ties off of that, believing that you're worth it and that you also deserve it, never ever being concerned of where it's going to come from, who it's going to come from, and how you're going to do it, but really just having the utmost belief within yourself, and then planting seeds for your manifestation to come to fruition, whatever that looks like. Sometimes it could be you have this amazing skill set and you have been passed up so many times. You're so sick and tired of it, but you have all these things mapped out in manifestation. And manifestations don't always have to be materialistic items. It could be personal endeavors. And all you want is a chance and an opportunity. But maybe that one chance encounter will happen at the grocery store, at the park, wherever it is that you will go or be at or present in. So that's why it's never important to get the why. Put your manifestations down in paper and plain as day on your vision board. Keep them fresh in your mind before you go to sleep and disconnect from your conscious state. And as you transition into your subconscious for the night, have that fresh in your mind. Right? There is power in the power of manifestation. But you got to believe in yourself as well. And understand that the why is not the part of the equation. Because we live in a realm of infinite possibilities, Googleplex possibilities. I love you guys so much. I'm so excited to be back, and I'm so excited to talk about manifestation, and I'm so excited that I want to delve you a little bit more as the podcast turns on all these other manifestations that have come into fruition in my life. And I just want to there's so many things that I have planned for this. I said I want to do my due diligence as a recovered alcoholic addict in giving back and talking about alcoholism or just addiction, and also primarily with the push and the notion of how I lost my sister. I'm like, this story, this addiction, we have to talk about it. So it's a lot coming down the pipe works that I'm excited for. Sis is back in the hospital. We could have a session about that. The hospital life, work life. Y'all, hospitals are the biggest portals on the planet. Now, the hospital I'm currently at does not have a birthing facility. So that hospital is receiving 0 souls. You understand? So that means not not everybody there, but it's a portal for souls transitioning up out of there, or perhaps lingering. We don't know. Okay, I done seen some lights flicker here and there, but you all stay encouraged, stay excited, don't ever give up. I have to write this down, y'all, so I don't forget, because my biggest manifestation took 19 years that I accomplished at the start of this year and going strong. So sometimes it's just not when you put it on paper and pen. Sometimes it's when it's time to be completed, time to reach fruition. I've had some happen quick as weeks, months, a few years or so, and this happened to be facts. 19 years later. I'm like, look at this. Glad I never gave up on it. But we got more to talk about. I'm just glad to be back on the airwaves, back with you all. Love you all so much. Sis miss y'all. I missed y'all for real. The world was trying to stress me out, child. The world was trying to stress me out. My job was trying to stress me out, but I say, no, ma'am, get this sage, girl, get this sage weekly. I say, double up on the sage, double up on the Palo Santo. Gotta slay all this negative energy out here. Gotta slay the witches and warlocks. That energy out there, that negative energy, gotta slay it, girl. Slay it. Love y'all.